In this module, we'll be taking a closer look at the material settings, which involves adding new fabrics and changing their physical properties as well as their outer traits. Now we will start off with changing just the colors, maybe adding some patterns and so on, and I will demonstrate all of this to the upper part of our outfit, so these two patterns and the sleeves. Now if we take a look at the object browser to the fabric tab, we see that we only have one default fabric that is applied to all of our patterns, so we'll start off by adding a new one by clicking here and renaming it to top. Now we're going to drag and drop this newly made fabric to the patterns. So the two front ones, as well as the back ones. We're going to leave these strips of fabric out. And the sleeves. We're also going to check by clicking on the top if the fabric was applied. As you can see, it gets an orange outline and we see that we've applied it successfully. Now let's take a look at the settings that we have, which open up in the property editor. First thing you'll notice is that you can make different textures for the front, back, or side of the fabric, and each tab has the same settings, so you can really customize this as much as you like. But we'll stick to changing the front side for now though. So of course the obvious thing that we can change is of course the color, and if I click on it, you see that I'm able to choose from every kind of color I want. I can even use the eyedropper tool if I need to, and so on. So let's go for a very dark black color for now and hit OK. Underneath the color option, we have the specular color, which gives us a shininess effect. And if I demonstrate this, if I click on it, and let's go for something like whiter, you can see that I get this effect that looks almost like leather, so I can achieve very interesting effects with this. And I can also adjust the shininess factor, so I can make it very subtle or I can make it very pronounced, depending on what kind of effect I want. Now I can even upload a specular map to this, and I'm just going to quickly upload a texture that I have by clicking on this icon. And I'm going to choose this ornament image that I have right here. And if I zoom in, you can see the subtle ornament within our shirt, and it's usually more pronounced when the light is hitting the fabric and hides when the fabric goes into the shadows. Of course, I can also manipulate this as well with the shininess factor to make it more or less visible if I would like to. Next we have the emission color. The emission color is for clothing that basically emits light. So I can easily change it right here, but we don't need that for now. So let's just cancel this, and I'm also going to delete the specular map by pressing on this icon right here. There's one thing that we've forgotten at the very top of the list, and that is a texture. So we can also add our own textures, maybe some that we find online or some that we've created ourselves. So I simply just click on this icon as with the specular map. And again, I'm going to use this ornament image again. So just going to open that up. And once I apply this texture, I can also put a color on top of it. So if I choose white, I get the original image, but I can also apply my own colors, and you see I get very different effects. So this is very neat. You can really customize your textures and patterns this way. So I'm just going to leave it to a bit of an orange and hit OK. Now the next thing that I would like to show you is how to further manipulate these patterns, because as you can see the pattern is so small that it's beginning to repeat itself, and maybe I would like to resize it, rotate it, or maybe change its position, and I can easily do that with the help of the Edit Texture tool that can be found in the 2D window right here, or even in the 3D window right here. So I can edit and move the texture in the 3D or in the 2D window, it doesn't even matter. So if I zoom in, if I click on the pattern, you see that I get this handle right here, and I'm able to move the patterns in any way that I would like. In the upper right corner, I'm also able to rotate the patterns, and I can also resize them. Or maybe just the Y or the X axis. You can also apply these changes under texture transformation. That can be found under the property editor. So right below the emission color, we have the texture transformation. So if you would like to move, rotate, or anything else by an exact number, you can just input that here, so you don't need to do it here manually. And then the next option that we have is the opacity. If I lower it, I get a see-through material. So if we take a look, this is basically all of the settings that involve sort of the outer appearance of our texture. And the next important tab that we have is the physical property, which involves the property of the fabric that we have. And we're going to tackle this further in the next clip.